As a fellow creative musician, I always wondered why I never used my creativity on the business. I was using it in the business as a service. I never thought to be creative on the business. The challenge with providing a service that is creatively driven is that its value or its monetary value is highly based on opinion and it's highly subjective. So pricing your service, monetizing your creativity is a challenge because there's no blank slate. You're in a way figuring out its value and you're projecting its value rather than deciding its value. So that's the challenge, but that's also where the opportunity lies. There are a lot of businesses within the creative space that have actually found ways to grow their business by using creativity within their digital marketing efforts. And in this video, I'm going to share 7 of those. First tip is to create case studies and content out of your current users or your current fan base who already buy from you or engage with your content. And this can be used as a way to project expertise within the service that you do, but at the same time, it's great for your marketing efforts because you've got that social proof driven content that's going to give you a better position to your potential fan base down the line. So it's basically using your current users as an extension of your content and as an extension of your social proof. Tip number 2 is to collaborate with relevant businesses within your space, but even more to that is collaborate with your competitors or similar niches within your field, because it's a chance for you to cross promote each other, but at the same time, you're exposing yourself to their audience, and their audience is very likely going to like your service too or your proposition, because if they already like your competitors who already have a similar business to yours, it's very likely that they'll consider your creative service also. Third tip is to actually niche down to the point where it becomes its own promotion tool or talking point. You want your creative service to speak to a specific person to solve a very specific problem, but at the same time, the way you want to expose your creative service is unique because you want to stand out. So why not find a niche where there's less competition and really become great at that specific area rather than trying to compete with a niche that everybody else is doing, making it more difficult to actually stand out and acquire those customers. Another great thing about niching down is it actually gets people noticing you much more because you're going to be remembered a lot more when you stand out. Quoting Seth Godin's Purple Cow, when you're in the field and you see a bunch of cows, they all kind of blend and become one. When there's a purple cow, that specific cow stands out and it gets more attention. The whole point of a creative service is to obviously make profit, but at the same time, you want to become unique and niche down because you want people to talk about it as well. Tip number 4 is to actually use your passions and your other interests and hobbies and interlink that to your business. So a great example of this is when I was still doing music. There was a music producer who was really into gaming, really into anime, and he somehow combined those aspects and interlinked that with his music. So what he would do is he would live stream on Twitch and obviously play games, but at the same time have his beat or his music playing in the background. And at the same time, he would talk about his passion with anime. And imagine all those potential customers are then being introduced to his music, then exposed that the music in the background is actually music that he produced. Think of how you can use your passions and creative hobbies or interests as a way to expose yourself to new fans, but at the same time to also show that you're much more than just your creative practice, and then find ways to interlink the two aspects. Tip number 5 is turning your service into a subscription based, very similar to a SaaS or a software as a service. Us creatives, we tend to only think omnidirectionally when we're actually being creative, but when we think of pricing or business, we're quite linear. Why not think of ways to become creative with your pricing strategies and the way you actually charge your customers, potentially exploring a pricing model that's based on a subscription. And a great person to mention is DesignJoy. And long story short, DesignJoy is basically an agency, but it's really a one-man band earning 6 figures, actually 7 figures a year. And his pricing model as a designer, it's a design-based service, is as a subscription. And I actually use that same exact model with Proverb, with my own agency. So basically, rather than pricing your service traditionally, think of ways where it might be interesting for your customers. Tip number 6 is think of ways how to fully utilize the digital landscape. It's amazing the amount of leverage and opportunity you have as a creative in terms of acquiring not just your fan base, but also your customers. So think of ways how you can utilize, paid advertising, your website, your email list, social media and content in order to funnel in more attention and more customers. Be creative in the way that you deploy those ideas, right? And what you might actually find is using your creativity in those specific channels might actually funnel in a lot of customers for your business. Tip number 7, utilize all the possible opportunities presented to you. Even though there might be opportunities that might initially not be of interest, say yes to them anyway, especially if you're starting out. So when I was still studying music at university, I remember one of my tutors told me that whenever you have an opportunity given to you, just say yes to it. Don't try to question it. Don't complicate it. Just say yes, because you never know who's going to be in the other side, who you're going to meet, or what the opportunity might bring. So for example, in this case, it might be a gig, might be performance showcase. You don't know who's going to be in the crowd. It could be a potential manager, it could be a potential fan base, it could be a business person that you actually really need. By saying no to opportunities, you might miss out on those aspects. Another great example of this is, I remember a couple of years back, this painter who would teach people how to paint for free, and he would deploy this in a underground or train station, and the only payment that he really takes from that potential person is not money, but actually using it as content. So he would live stream these people who were interested in learning more about painting, and through that content he gathered the fan base, and then long story short, a news publication picked it up, and then he was showcased within that news publication, and that gave him so many opportunities. It gave him so much wider visibility as a painter, but at the same time for his business. So think about that. The only way you're going to get those opportunities is saying yes to opportunities that are necessarily monetary driven, and it might be very unconventional initially, but take those opportunities nonetheless. And just to conclude the video and to support the previous point, start saying yes to life. Your next big opportunity might just be around the corner. Literally, in this case, at the end of life, we actually regret the things we say no to much more than the things we say yes to. So keep that in mind with your creative business pursuit. And I hope this video has been helpful. Thanks for watching. If you have any other tips for other creatives out there, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching the video. Till next time, peace and love, out.